Cheers. 5 years. Cheers. All the best. You haven't spent your time unwisely. This is an excellent beer. Let's go outside and see if we can talk about it. And find out about it, all right? Let's go. This is Phil, the Brit, back after 5 years. It's not 5 years since I was last here, but it's 5 years in a podcast with this man here, Mr. Mike Marr, who is the owner, brewer of Buffalo Creek Brewing Company. And here we are. It's beautiful, long, fantastic day. We are in the which is why there's a certain amount of shadow on us, which is where we did our first interview, right? 5 years ago. Yeah, and very graciously, we had a great chat, and I knew there was promise for this brewery. Now you're here, 5 years later, so one thing I want to start with. This is take 2, folks, because take 1, we were outside in the gazebo, and unfortunately, for some reason, my microphone kept cutting in and cutting out. It was a really good interview, by the way. I wish you could have seen it. However, we've come inside. We're inside the brewery right now. We still have our beers, and we're going to talk about this.
Well, let's talk about these beers, because we've actually refilled our beers.
No, we haven't. No, this is not the second one.
We're a little happier now.
No. So we're here to talk to you about this fantastic beer, which you are calling
5-year Buccaneer.
5-year Buccaneer, and that's to celebrate your 5-year anniversary for Buffalo Grove Brewing. Buffalo Creek. Sorry,
Buffalo Creek Brewing.
You can tell this is a really good beer. So Buffalo Creek Brewing up here in Long Grove. You've been going for 5 years, and in fact, our first attempt at recording was out in the gazebo, which is where we did our first audio podcast.
Yes.
And I have to admit that probably will be better, because then you don't see our faces. But, you know, times are moving on, and I wanted to come out and celebrate this beer, which I'm going to show you. Actually, you can't quite see in the glass, but it's got a logo on it, and it's black. And against the fantastic 5-year Buccaneer, got to have to wait till it drinks down. Tell us about the beer, Mike.
So this is our 42K, and as I was saying before...
Okay, forget before.
we can have some liberties here.
Yeah, right.
This is a beer that, you know, we were thinking about this in January. We wanted to do a beer that was actually going to be something that we could actually celebrate, something we could have some fun with, not something we just threw together at the last minute or wait, ferment it out and just sell out the door. A lot of our small batches are going in, 38, 45, 30, maybe an hour. And so we wanted something that was a little bit more substantial. And this is our 5-year Buccaneer. So it's our 42K that we've aged in Barbados rum barrels.
Cool.
So Barbados rum barrels, we can't say the name of the brewery. If you look at Barbados, I believe there's only one brewery, but...
Hey, I'm going to Barbados.
And so we actually aged this in there for about 7 months. And this is a version of the 42K where we actually let it ferment out for about 7 weeks. And it drew down some of that sweetness and made it a little bit more spicier, which a lot of our customers really like. That spicy Belgian flavor that we get from those 2 different yeast strains that we use. And every time we make this beer, each version is a little bit different from the last, depending on which yeast is a little bit more, has more strength to it, to kind of ferment out the yeast.
And I would say that 42K was the beer that we tried during our first audio podcast.
It was
a Belgian strong ale, fantastic beer. That's the basis of this. And I think 5 years ago, 42K had a bit of a meaning to it.
So 42K is actually the name comes from the fee that the village imposed upon me for the water connection. Now, the funny thing is, during that time, when we had that podcast way back then, $42,000 is what we were charged for our water connection fee. It was only us and the dance studio next door that actually were imposed those fees. 2 years later, after everything he'd gone through, they decided to give water to the entire town. The highest anyone ever paid for that water was $21,000, half of 42K.
They saw him coming.
Okay. So we actually brought the water to the town.
Yeah.
We forced everyone, by us doing what we did, it actually forced everyone to get off the well water, everyone to have the city water in here.
Okay.
And, I'm okay with them charging a lower rate because the village has done many other great things for us, where we have a brand new $400,000 parking lot that was installed back in October. It's fantastic. We actually scheduled it. They actually broke ground the day after our Oktoberfest.
Oh, wow.
And it took 1 month, but they got the whole thing in there.
All right. Well, good for the village of Longgrove. If you want to come up here, they have lots of festivals, by the way. I think there's Chocolate Festival, Strawberry Festival. Well, and of course, your festival, you have an early season one. Oh, you have Oktoberfest?
We have Oktoberfest.
All right. Well, there you go. That's coming up.
Oktoberfest, we're shooting for about 5,000 people this year.
Okay. So 5 years have gone by. What has been one of your biggest challenges during that 5 year that you've now overcome?
That we've overcome or are still working on? I mean, distribution is definitely one of the challenges. Is when you open a brewery, there's many things that the first couple of years everything is new because and this is true of any business. Distribution is one of those things that no matter how hard I put my arms around it, I still cannot get a hold of this beast. And we keep working with our distributors. Louis Guns is the oldest beer distributor in Chicagoland, and we've worked with them to develop new beers, new branding, new marketing, and it seems to be that these guys actually know what they're doing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
Well, that's good.
After 100 years, you work with a company that's been around for over 100 years, they actually know what they're doing. And so we are actually starting to see the beer sales increase. We're seeing, a lot of movement where, you can always sell beer into a place the first time, but it's to sell through. And how do you get people that are walking through, the Benny's or Jewel or, Woodman's.
My local Woodman's now stocks his beer.
Yes. When you're walking through Woodman's, and there's, 300-400 beers on the shelf, how do you get someone's attention? You got about a half of those. You need explosive marketing. You need your labels that actually really stand out. You need beers that not everybody else. You don't want to be one of 20 beers. You want to be one of 3 or 4 beers. So these are all things that we've been working on. And so we now have our Lone Grove Lager. It's a Vienna style lager. We have our Angelic Helles. It's a Munich style Helles. It takes us 8 weeks to ferment. And then the last one is our Half Nelson, which is we want to do something for all those people that really want an IPA style beer, but not have all the bitterness. So we actually created an American wheat beer where we dry hop it with Nelson Sauvin hops twice. Just once isn't good enough. We got to do it a second time. So it's a double dry hopped American wheat, and that one you drink it. It's refreshing. We've had many people do podcasts about this and actually talk about the notes of what they taste when they're drinking this. They've hit spot on, every single one that has done this. And
I'll do it. I'll bet I'll miss.
You will not miss. Go.
Okay.
I've known you for
So
many
you
years.
said that was the last one. That was 3.
That was 3. So we have 3 that we do in distribution, and then we have a seasonal. So our seasonal right now is the Red-Headed Stepchild.
Okay.
It is a strawberry blonde that is infused with mountains of strawberries. And this is, when we make fruit beers, we're not like the people that go out, get it all to the bright tank, and then just throw a bunch of fruit in there and call it a day, or fruit juices. We actually take the fruit, ferment it out with the beer, and that way we get the essence of all those flavors, but not all that sickening sweetness. The idea is, at the end of the day, we want a beer that tastes like a beer. If you want to add a strawberry flavor to it, great, we'll put a strawberry flavor in there. It's because we're going to ferment it all, and you'll have the essence of it. It's like we do, every year we do a pumpkin pie.
I'm sorry?
Pumpkin pie.
No, I'm just sorry. There we go.
So the pumpkin pie ale, it is a saison. So saisons give you that nice light, flowery taste. It's got honey, it's got pumpkin, and it's got maple syrup.
Okay.
We ferment all those out. So that you end up with something that has the essence of all those flavors, but not that sickening sweetness. There's a lot of pumpkin beers out there, and I'll drink one and I can only drink one.
Yeah.
Our beer is designed, you drink one, you drink two. We're in the business to sell liquid. If we can't sell this stuff, we're doing it.
So I also, our first interview we did out in the gazebo, and I put a few pictures of your area outside. You've actually refined your outside area into a full-fledged beer garden.
Yeah, it is a beer garden.
Yep.
We've actually, during the pandemic, we got rid of all the sod, all the grass, everything that was out there, and have redone, basically pulled all that out.
Did you tell it to sod off?
I did tell it to sod off. And
Look that one up, folks.
if you look over to our left, which you guys can't see, but Phil can see it over there,
I'll put some pictures up.
there's a big dirt pile. And so what we did was we took all the sod off the lawn, put it over to the side, and brought in 150 metric ton of stone and filled the beer garden with it. So this way there's an 18-inch base. So as it rains, it pours, it does anything it wants to do, you're not going to get muddy feet. You're going to be able to enjoy yourself. In the wintertime, we have all our fire pits out there. The fire pits are great. People come, we have 9 of them going during the winter. Last year we went through 130 face cord of wood.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot of wood.
It is. We have we put a stage in for live music, and then we got the food trucks on the other side. It's one-stop shopping.
And I think today when I came by, you were actually in the midst of brewing some Long Grove lager. I've got some pictures of that and pictures of you doing your work there. That is one of your biggest sellers, right?
It is.
It's a Vienna-style lager.
Vienna-style lager.
It's got a honey nut brown as well, which is quite enjoyable.
You know, so honey nut brown, did you notice the name?
No, I can't remember names.
The name is called Bad Move.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we have this historic bridge across the parking lot.
Oh, yes.
That keeps getting smashed into.
So let me explain that. So he's out in Long Grove, and you come down Robert Parker Coffin Road, and you hit this one-track bridge. And it's very low, and
so it's 8 feet, 6 inches. It can only hold.
Not wide.
Yes. And it can only hold normal-sized vehicles. Yeah, we've had school buses, we've had box trucks, we've had U-Hauls. So the Bad Move, we'll back up a minute and talk about the rest, but the Bad Move was actually named after, and if you notice the tap handle, it's U-Haul colors. So it's called Bad Move because
everybody's got a U-Haul truck and stuff.
we had 6 U-Hauls hit it over the course of 6 weeks. And I'm like, okay, that's worthy of the beer name. The first one that took out the bridge, so this bridge is over 100 years old. We had just spent a lot of money to actually restore it, put a new roof on it. And 2 weeks after we had done this, we were a week away from dedicating the bridge because we actually got historic status on the bridge. A box truck that was delivering fruits and vegetables here in town to one of the restaurants came through and he was trying to do this Back to the Future. The faster I go, the smaller I get. It didn't work out well. I mean, he took every truss out and just demolished the bridge.
So it would have been really ironic had it been in malt truck delivering milk.
You know, we actually have stickers that were made up, and it shows a 1950s Foxbrook with our logo on the side. And so we created a beer called Too Tall IPA.
Oh, right.
That was the first of this melee.
So anyway, guys, you want to come up to Long Grove. This beer is going to be on tap on Friday, I think it is, and we're recording this on Thursday, the 14th. The Bastille Day. Oh, hey, ho.
Bastille.
Cheers. Bonsoir. Okay. So it's on tap tomorrow. Unfortunately, the brewery is closed on Saturday, but...
We'll say Saturday evening. We're open,
Saturday evening.
We're open from 11 to 4.
There you go.
Saturday.
Wash up. Get one of these fantastic... Now you can see it. You can see that down. It says 5 years.
5 years.
Beer.
Great beer.
Great beer on there. Very good. Mike, always a pleasure, especially after a couple of these. What? That's okay. So 42K is how many percent?
10.5.
And this one,
11.4.
there you go. It adds a little when you add it to a rum-barrel, folks. It's been a pleasure. This gets better as it warms up, by the way. Cheers. Plus, okay, that's Oktoberfest. What is it now?
No,
Summer.
German.
It's up.
So for the Prost, Salons. Cheers.
It's all the same. Come up to where the hell am I? Buffalo Creek Brewing Company.
Buffalo Creek, yes. No, we're actually Buffalo Creek. We love the Greeks, but we're Buffalo Creek.
Oh my God! You should. The first take was a lot better, more professional, but we enjoyed this. This is why you come up here and drink beer. Cheers. All the best. Well, here's to 5 more years, and once again, Buffalo Creek Brewing, Long Grove. Come on up this weekend, and you'll get. Well, this beer's on tap now.
Well, it's actually on tap tomorrow.
Oh, on tap tomorrow.
You're getting a sample today.
Pete. Come Friday.
On Friday or Sunday?
What day is that? Friday?
7:15.
No, that's a time. Oh, 7:15.
July 15th.
Oh yeah. All the best. Come out to Buffalo Creek. Good stuff.